Still nice. Still nice. Hello, darlings. Hello, my lovelies, and oh, it's nothing less than a joy. It always is. And I'm doing things tonight. Now, I'm not going to be here for long. I am so knackered. I just can't seem to catch up with myself. Don't know what's going on. I have been getting up earlier. I've been fighting against the winter hibernation thing now that spring is kind of poking its head out, like Mr. Brown poking his head out of reception when, well, anyway, we don't need to talk about that, do we? But, yeah, so I'm just tired. I mean, it's normal to be tired at this time of night, isn't it? And, get about. And at 1 o'clock, you know, it's, instead of being kind of raring to go, I'm raring to go to bed, which is just totally normal, but it just shows that we're coming into spring. And I'm very aware that I need to get more things done. And while I was watching and very much enjoying Captain Mustard's live stream, as were all of you, I decided I should do some. I've got a pile of things that need doing, dotted up, several piles. I've got a pile in the guest suite in the West Wing, and I've got a pile in the front parlour. And this is one of the things that I've been wanting to get done. All of this here is wet legs, very, 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 very extensive service history. There's everything there from day one. And one of my things when I get a new car is that I like to get the service history, and I like to put it all in really good quality poly pockets, not the cheap ones, the really expensive heavy duty ones. And I like to put them in the whole history into a folder in chronological order, and using the gift of dividers properly separated. And the way that I like to do it is, first section is V5, then you go into MOTs, and the MOTs will start at the most recent and then go back in chronological order, then into actual service history, bills and so on, and they will go in chronological order again, but reverse to the MOTs. So they will start with the oldest and then go through to the newest. And then you'll have tax, and then you'll have insurance, and then you'll have whatever else you might have. I have a rather splendid app that documents fuel usage and history and economy, and you can print all of that off and put it in there, and so on and so on. And I thought I'd get that done, and I've kind of made a start on it, but I got distracted by, I gave one of my cases, well, I didn't give it away, well, I kind of did. I gave it away with Miss Henrietta Pye, which of course I sold. I didn't give the card away, I sold it, but I gave the actual folder with it. And it's left me a folder short, and I'm a bit discombobulated by it all, because I've got one really nice folder. It's, I was going to say Lurpak, and it's not a Lurpak at all. It is a, what's it called? Filofax. A Filofax A4 leather folder, which cost over 100 quid. And I'm trying to figure out which car that should now be for. And I think it should be for the MGZT, because that is nominally, at least, probably the most valuable car on my fleet. It's certainly the one that I paid the most money for. And I bought a couple of these, which are, you know, they're ring folders. They do the job. They're fake leather, but they are for doings, which is very important to me. I bought two of these cheapos off Amazon, and they're a bit disappointing, but then I'm poor. I have to expect to be disappointed on a regular basis. Yeah, the most voluminous service history is actually the Honourable Shison, and Chinese Madam was jolly impressed by my service history folders, and when she bought Shison, she asked me to buy a folder, you know, a leather type, but it's a proper big, more voluminous zip-up one for Shison, which is necessary because Shison's history is nonsensically large. It's got the history, I mean, I'm not referring to Shison as it, because Shison is correctly referred to as they, as we all know. So, yeah, so that's what I'm kind of doing. It's one of the things I'm a little bit anal about, as are key rings. Key rings have to be pertinent to the car, and well, I have gradations of key rings. I have three more prominent key ring positions. I'll show you them one day, or you can see them for yourself when you visit here. And those have special key rings from an Italian leather design house called Il Ponte, which, as the multilinguists amongst you will know, is the bridge. And interestingly, that comes from a Latin root, which means that the word for bridge is very similar in Italian, ponte, French, pont, but you won't expect this, Welsh, pont. For example, I'm from Pontnesfechan, and pont means bridge, and it's from the same Latin root. Those, honestly, those Romans got everywhere, didn't they? Yeah, so the, no, you're not the keyring king. I'm going to get to the questions in just a moment, but you are not keyring king. So the three most prominent positions, they have Il Ponte key rings. And I'll show you one. I'll show you one for the sheer hell of it, for shits and giggles. And anybody who knows will know that these key rings are more expensive than the cars to which the keys belong. But that's only for the three most prominent. That's the most expensive one. And I'll show you the other two. This is the one on Shison, and it's a UK version with UK text. And that is the one on the Honourable H.J. Rover. Now, spare keys have a choice. They have one of two things. They either have, and I will show you, Where are my spare keys? Okay. Spare keys have a choice of 2 key rings. They might have a mark specific key ring, but it has to be different to the main keys to differentiate them. Or it may have a key ring which is pertinent in some other way, like this one, which is a 1970s Llandudno key ring in blue. And that is very relevant to, this is the spare key for Stigma von Thundercock. And Llandudno is always relevant because it's like one of my favourite happy places. Where did that go? Oh, it went there, didn't it? That one went there. And Stigma has got blue accents inside. I didn't actually buy that key ring for Stigma. I bought it for the spare key for I can't remember what his name was, but the C-Max, because that was actually blue. And I've got another key ring here. I'll show you this for the sake of completeness. This is one of my favourite key rings. Now, it's another original 1970s Llandudno key ring, but I bought this from a keyring collector on Gozo, or in Gozo, which, as you probably know, is pretty much my favourite place in the world. And that is the spare key for Shison, I think. And then, hold on. Keys that aren't in the top 3 most prominent positions, they will have simple mark specific. So there's Stigma's main key ring, and that is the key ring for Wet Leg. Wet Leg von Titty Biscuits. The poor biffed up cow. There we are. So I hope I've explained that thoroughly and satisfactorily for you and put your minds at rest. And I think the salient point that we really have to take from all of this is that this job really hasn't got done tonight. And quite frankly now it's not going to get done. So I might as well tidy it all away for now and put it back in the pile in the front parlour. I haven't actually, I've put it on top of the picnic hamper. So there we are. Oh, and I should have taken this with it really for the sake of completeness, shouldn't I? Look at that mess. I'm hungry. So that's a job that I can do tomorrow. But, never seems to be time for anything these days. There really doesn't. Editing videos takes such a long time, and then you've got to make the bloody things as well. Oh, hang on, I need to get onto these comments. I expect I'm getting some grief and general abuse for something or other. How dare you talk about key rings at this time in the morning? And this needs to go in the bin, quite frankly. Yeah, so videos and stuff. I was actually videoing tonight. I am going to introduce a new element to the channel. And I'm going to introduce another kitchen element. Now, many of you will have seen me in the kitchen, but now you're going to get an insight into a professional Asian kitchen, because I've started filming at work with the understanding and connivance of my staff. We had a really quiet night at work today, and Ram, my head chef, he set up a YouTube channel, and he thought that it would become he thought it would become, well, he hoped that it would become terribly successful, as do we all when we start a YouTube channel. And his has been going a lot longer than mine. I think, oh, his must have been going for over 3 years now, I imagine. Now, he hasn't been as busy as me. I've put out well over 300 videos now, I think, in the 12 months or so that I've been going. He's been going 3 years and has put out a total of, well, if you include them all, 2. And he has amassed a loyal audience of 16 subscribers. But he's a jolly good chef. And he said tonight, could we merge our 2 channels? And my immediate thought was, well, no, but I would be perfectly happy to film some stuff at work and, you know, have it on a specific playlist on my channel. And I thought I would enjoy that very much. And I thought that maybe some of you might too. You might pick up some useful tips. They are interesting people. They're lovely people. They're beautiful people. And I imagine that you would warm to them in the same way that I did, quite possibly more so. So I started filming that tonight as we were quiet, and I blindfolded Ram and made him chop a whole bucket of onions with a big scary sharp knife when he couldn't see what the bloody hell he was doing, and that was quite funny. He was fine at the chopping bits. I knew he would be. Any professional chef can chop and cut, and even, you know, a pro chef can chop julienne, can very finely chop with no eyesight whatsoever. There's no need for it, because if you've got even the most rudimentary of knife skills, then you're using your hands, not your knife. This will be demonstrated in the video. But what was amusing was him groping about when the onions were becoming a bit more scarce, and he's trying to find the next onion to grab onto the board to chop. But that's something that I'm going to do more of in the quieter times. Give you a bit of an insight into the restaurant in case you're interested. You might not be interested, but, you know, and I don't mean this to sound in any way harsh, but it's not entirely about you. It's also about me, and it's a way for me to get content without costing me any more time, because I'm at work anyway. And I genuinely think, I mean, I wouldn't just believer you with any old crap just for the sake of getting something out there, but that's a total lie. I film myself in the bath and on the bog and doing all sorts of absolute nonsense. It's completely worthless and is nothing less than an insult to even dreaming of semi-professional broadcastery. So that would be a nonsensical thing to say. But these days, I wouldn't stick it out there unless I thought, even if it had no real validity or worth, at least it might raise a laugh. And I think you might enjoy getting to know the guys in the kitchen a bit better. So I'm going to be doing more of that, and there you go. Now I'm going to work through your comments, and then at past, I'm buggering off. I want eats and sleeps. And for lunch today, I had Momo. I told you I was going to, and I did. But I didn't have the normal Momo. I only had half a portion of chutney. And I've got a different Momo regime going on at the moment. I'm limiting myself to 10 to a portion. And these are not the same as the last batch. These are the... now, I think I was honest with you and told you that the last batch were made on some sort of machine by one of the Nepali community in Nottingham. And my current batch are very, very, very handmade and somewhat inexpertly and inconsistently handmade, which means that, I mean, they're stunning, they're amazing, they're delicious. Do you want me to show you? No, you don't, do you? But I'm going to anyway. I'm going to anyway. That's the sort of mood I'm in. I enjoy giving you these insights into my life that you don't want, haven't asked for, and are not remotely interested in. Right. Big bag. Smaller plastic bag. And I'm going to release a selection into the wild. First belch of the live stream. There you go. You see those? They're quite diminutive. Individual, handmade, unique, bespoke, but quite small. And I'm limiting myself to 10 to a portion, which is taking some doing. So today, and don't tell my Nepalese family this because they'd disown me. Get in there, you awkward buggers. I didn't serve them correctly. Just, steamed with chutney. Because I only had a half portion of chutney, I had salad with them as well, which is completely wrong in every way, shape or form, but I went ahead and big fat did it. And tonight I'm going to have my Chinese chicken curry, and then for lunch tomorrow, I've got steak again. Can you believe it? Steak with horseradish mustard. And I'm very excited about that. And tomorrow, I'm going to have it with a handful of chips, not a massive amount, just a handful of chips, and some griddled tomato. I've got a really nice tomato. It's absolutely bang on. Now, I went to Sainsbury's tonight. They had no tomatoes at all. No vine tomatoes, no loose tomatoes, no packs of salad tomatoes, no beef tomatoes, only the cheap Mother Hubbard pack of, cherry tomatoes, which are far from my favourite, my loves. So I nicked this from work and look at that. Isn't that a bloody marvellous tomato? It's just about the right size. It's firm. It's at the absolute pinnacle of just pre-ripeness. That's going to be, it would be a little bit, it's probably 2 days short of being ready for being saladed. But for being griddled, that is perfect. All that needs is a bit of olive oil, black pepper and heat. And that is going to be bloody fabulous. And that's going to be my lunch tomorrow, and I'm very excited about that as well. And tomorrow night, I don't mind telling you, street noodles. Oh yeah. Baby. Now then, let's rattle through the comments and then let's all go to bed, shall we? Hi Jimmy, hi Simon, hi Matt. Hi again Matt. Dick Dastardly, how lovely. Roger Boaty is here. Right, okay. The dirty devil. Trace, hello my love, how you doing? Hope you're all right, Trace. I guess it's probably, it's probably hit you a little bit, same as it has me. Yeah, I hope you're doing okay with it all. And, oh God, this is going to sound so weird, but I was about to say, hopefully that's the wrong word, but maybe I'll see you at the funeral. We are planning a road trip. We did a road trip down, myself, Steve, the other Steve Wilson, and Gialpi, as we know her. We did a road trip down to Richard's funeral, which was the first time that the old power sellers board actually met up in real life. And we've said that, yeah, we've got to do, though last thing any of us wanted to do it, we're going to have to do a repeat of that to come down and sends Steve off, and it's a terrible irony that once the sadness and the tears are over with, I imagine it will be a good gathering to send the old bugger off, in the way that he would have done it himself, in the way that he did do it when we sent Richard off. And the real irony is that he's missing a do that he would have absolutely loved. But anyway, hope you're okay, Trace. Okay, right, going to bed. What? Oh, God almighty, I'm not sure if we're talking about breasts or hemorrhoids here. Dear me. Oh, right, Simone popped in and has buggered off. No, I don't need it back, Simon. No. It belongs with the car, mate. He's not reading, and I'm reading now. I think it's the folder I bought and Henny was free. That was a bloody expensive folder, that was, actually. You're not getting... I did think about giving you one of the tatty ones, swapping all the stuff into one of the tatty ones, and you'd never have known, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. I had to let you have the nice one. Because it belongs with the car. There we are. KKC's here. He's in his own Boaty's world. That's where I live. He's been busting to start verbalising. I do find it difficult. I find it really difficult watching somebody else's live stream when you can't just talk. It's it's really weird. Oh, a question. A serious question. Why is Stigbert called Stigbert von Thundercock? That's kind of a difficult one to answer. Probably the same reason that all of my cars end up with names like that. Stigbert was one of those cars. I always buy cars before I see them. I never, or hardly ever, go and do the normal thing where I look at a car, go and view a car, think about it, make an offer, negotiate, whatever. I've always bought the car before I see it, and I never normally see them. I just go and pick them up, and then that's it, for better or worse. That's the way it was with Wet Leg. That's the way it was with Henny. That's the way it was with Stigbert. So, I suss out the owners, and I reckon that you get a better sense of how the car is likely to be from talking to the owners. With old second-hand cars, you get a much better sense than you. Number two, then God almighty, hiccups as well. Than you ever could actually looking at them. So I committed to Stigma, and I spent one whole night at work trying to come up with a name for him before I went and picked him up. And I think it was when I had all of the, I think I must have been watching Top Gears or something. Now, he's a big, relatively quick and powerful car, so he needed that sort of name, and I'm trying to remember exactly where it all came from. Stigbert came from Top Gear Stig, but obviously you can't just be the same, so Stig became Stigbert, and I added an umlaut for effect. And then Thundercock, I'll tell you where Thundercock came from. Thundercock came from Thrustercock, which was a character in a fake newspaper written by Peter Cook that nobody knows about. except that one of my girlfriends sent me a very rare book called Tragically, I Am an Only Twin, or I Was an Only Twin, which is a collation of Peter Cook writings that otherwise hadn't seen the light of day. And it was Newcastle who sent it to me. And Newcastle was convinced that I was Peter Cook's long lost twin because his writing and my writing shared an awful lot of similarities. And he had a character in there called Clint Thrustercock. And that sort of combined with Stig to become Stigbut Thundercock. And then I added the Von in because I thought it just kind of fitted. And I added another random umlaut to Thundercock. And I will literally think about these things for hours and hours and hours. And I'll keep going until I get something that feels right to me. You know, I might be able to find a route to justify it, but it has to feel right to me, it has to feel right to the car, and it has to be vaguely amusing. And, you know, in my mind, the hard work paid off, or the hard thought, because I think Stigbut von Thundercock is the perfect name for that car. I think he was born to be a Stigbut, and very much in the von Thundercock family. Where did I get to? Good night. Well, I'm off. Good night. Take care, everyone. Right, let's all go to bed then, shall we? Don't get him started on that. We'll be here all night. On what? Oh, those with small members buy powerful cars. Well, they might not. I don't know. What I do know is that I watched the Two Ronnie sketch today, where Ronnie Corber was the Arab guy coming into Ronnie B's delicatessen type place and asking for chocolatey mouse and bicarbonate officer and marmalady toast, and I enjoyed that very much indeed. Good night. Oh, Gareth Williams, there's a name I haven't seen for a while. I've got Lego key rings, says Matt, and you have my sympathies. Lurpak's going to be dreaming of gorgeous Simon. No, you're not the keyring king, Simon. You're just not, and you never will be. He will be getting his wedding photos out next. Yeah, okay. I don't actually have any wedding photos. I lost those in the divorce. But I do have a wedding DVD that was very expertly made by a chum of mine. So you can have a look at that. That's the front cover. That is the back cover. And there are the innards. I haven't watched that for ages. And there's a good reason I haven't watched it for ages, and that reason is I don't have any form of a DVD player in the cottage, or a televisual to attach the DVD player to. But when I get one, we can sit down and watch my whole wedding together. Won't that be a treat for you? Not. I'm still recovering from Mustard reading out the filth Boaty posted about Tracy. Did he mean me? Yes, I did. May have been TP. No, it wasn't. It was you. But was my name anyway. So, Tracy spanking Kylie, and I needed to lie down. Well, you spoke about larger ladies spanking smaller ladies, and I thought about that for a moment, and I thought about your missed financial opportunity. And if I was going to watch you spanking anyone, then Kylie kind of sprang to mind. She deserves a bit of punishment for I should be so lucky with my rubber ducky. And, you know, she wouldn't be too much of a weight on you because she's only a small thing. And she's got a wonderfully spankable bottom. Or she did have 20 years ago when I last looked. You might want to diddly-do. Simon's still here, even though he went some time ago. Oh, God, they've all got Lego keyrings. What's the matter with you? If he offers you keyrings or cycling, let him talk about cycling. Oh, dear. Who put 10p in this imposter Boaty? I thought he was off to bed. Don't freeze your wine. If he goes off topic again, it's corpse swap. Big bollocks, says Mustard. Show your bollocks. Oh dear. I thought I could hear some pendulous banging. Oh dear. My missus is a chef, says KKC. She scares me when she uses a knife. Imagine how I feel working with Gurkhas who have a tradition that if they unsheath their knife, it has to taste blood before it's put back. And I work with these buggers waving big knives around. So I feel that pain. Mustard and Boaty do bollocks. Oh, Tracy says, and she's talking to Captain Mustard here. I enjoyed your stream at Project Nigel. I didn't enjoy the first half, but the rest of it was quite interesting stroke fun. Oh, that's nice. These days I wouldn't stick it out there if I didn't think it was worth a laugh, says Boaty. Too right. KKC says, Mustard stream was probably brilliant, but I was late again and didn't see any of it. Huh. There's no way that this stream is ending at past, says Trace. The ghosts will ensure that if Boaty doesn't. It's like watching the BBC in the 50s. Roll call, who is here? A hidden comment is here. Lurpak, A380. It's always that fucking button's fault. I think I'm here, says Matt, and gets a tick. You need mash with the steak mixed with horseradish mustard. No. I've never ever eaten mashed potato with steak, and I can never envisage myself doing so. And there's one good reason for that, and it is a very good reason. And it's perfectly obvious if you think about it, right? Mashed potato needs gravy, and that's just, there's no debate about that. Mashed potato needs gravy, end of story. I've got no time for the people who have mashed potato with baked beans. They want locking up or sending to Australia or another island far away, and that means that if you have mashed potato with gravy and you have steak, you're going to be having your steak overcooked, because you couldn't have perfectly cooked steak with gravy. I mean, that would be a crime against, well, literally a crime against God. So you'd be one of those awful people who overcook your steak. Braising steak, okay, with mash and gravy, but a nice flavoursome rump steak with mashed potato, I'll give you a head of wobble there. Oh, there's a tomato shortage, says Mustard. Well, there was in Sainsbury's tonight. Did you steal the horseradish from a prostitute? I've never stolen anything from a prostitute, he said, thinking about it. No, I never have. I've never stolen anything from a prostitute. In fact, I've always been jolly nice to prostitutes in my, well, I was going to say professional dealings with them. That sounds a bit dodgy, doesn't it? As most of you know, I did for a short time run a massage parlour, completely by accident and not through choice, and I stopped it as soon as I could. But for that short period of time, I was a jolly good pimp. I wasn't really a pimp. That was a joke, by the way. Although managing a massage parlour wasn't actually a joke. It was on the Liverpool Road in Birmingham for anybody who's interested. And as I've told you before, I very, very quickly turned it into DSS bedsits because it was failing badly, and to make it successful would have meant treading on Kevin's toes, who owned the successful massage parlours around Birmingham, and who was a friend and a client and a very scary man that I really didn't want to get killed by. And as I've also told you, I did have a relationship with a very high-class escort, which I guess is, you know, a nice way of saying prostitute. And I didn't steal anything from her either. Neither did she steal anything from me. Not that she would have needed to. I mean, even without her escorting duties, she was incredibly rich, as I've told you before. The number plate on her car was worth, what car did I have when I was with Hyde's? I think I had 2 Porsches as personal cars, and her number plate on her brand new Alpha Spider was worth more than my 2 Porsches put together. She was lovely. Anyway, they have no tomatoes today. Clowns were annoying. Now we're all singing the tomato song. How much for a big bag of Momo, says Jimmy Quinn. Oh, now that is a really awkward question. I know what I'd pay. I'm just working out whether I should put a profit margin on for you. And of course I shouldn't. I wouldn't want to make a profit from you. 100 Momo is, to me, at family rates, 100 Momo is 20 quid. I don't know what you would pay, not being family, even if you knew somebody who made them and sold them, but then you wouldn't need to worry about that because you know me. So a bag of 100 Momos, frozen, they come frozen, handmade, absolutely beautiful, is 20 quid. You'd need to make your own chutney, or you'd need to pay a bit more to get me to make you some chutney. But, I mean, you know, 100 Momos, 20 quid, you know, you'd get 10 meals out of that. Maybe a bit less if you've got a really big appetite and you just do the whole Momo experience. But you're still talking for genuine, and bear in mind, these are made with ingredients that you can't buy in the UK or even in Europe. These are herbs and spices that are unique to the foothills of the Himalayas, and we get brought back by, I've told you before, there's a constant stream of people going to and from Nepal. All of the Nepalese people who work in the UK, they go back relatively often because every time they save up, they work their bollocks off, they save up a decent amount of money, they go back to Nepal, they buy land. That's what they do. And when they come back, they bring a huge amount of herbs and spice and they share it amongst their community, and that's how we lay hands on it. So, you know, 20 quid for 100 of these little fellows is a ridiculous bargain when you bear in mind that you'll pay, what, 3 or 4 quid for a bag of 10 gyozos or mass-produced nonsense from the frozen section of Tesco. No, Mr. Ben 747. No. He popped in the other day, didn't he? But didn't appear to be around tonight. We'll likely see you at the funeral. That'll be nice. That'll be nice, mate. It'll be yeah, I mean, it's sad that we need one of us to fucking cough it in order for us to get together when we've been, we've been in the same, friends in the same circle for what, 20 years? And when we went to Richard's funeral, we said, for Christ's sake, let's not wait until another one of us dies before we do this again. And guess what? We've waited until another one of us dies to do this again. Let's hope we learn from that. Steve will be there in spirit, defo. Yeah, I think he will too, Trace. I think he will too. And he would be very annoyed. I think what Steve would like would be a combination of genuine grief and extreme piss-taking drunkenness and laughter, because that's how, that's how he dealt with it. So, yeah, we should actually make a bloody YouTube film out of some bits of it, not sensitive bits, but because that's one of the things that will have frustrated him, isn't it? That he had to bugger off before he got to his 1,000 subs. And he took YouTube properly seriously as well, didn't he? I mean, he had that massive dashcam group that I kept getting banned from by his moderators, and he kept putting me back in, trying to explain to them that it's all right, it's just Boaty, he's harmless, it's just what he does. But he had one of the biggest groups on Facebook. He worked with me, with Facebook on the Power Admin program. He did some live streams where he had 250,000 viewers. Admittedly, he also did some where he had 4. But the point is, he did take it all really seriously. He had all of the technicalities that I haven't got a clue. He did me my very first intro when I was still £500 Cheap Car Challenge. And I was very, very grateful for that. That was really thoughtful and kind. And it's a shame his channel didn't do a bit better than it could have. Or the problem with Steve was he didn't play on his celebrity because he was basically a humble guy. And if he'd have played on his celebrity the way that the other guy, John Machita, did, he would have been a worldwide figure, because he was funny, he was erudite, he was witty, he would have been great on camera. But there you go. That's how he was. My car is called Eric, says Mustard. I think I knew that. Eric McNeedmore Vin Diesel. Eric McNeedmore Vin Diesel. Yeah. Eric, the car that refuses to run without diesel, much to Mustard's chagrin. And I love the fact that on the video and on his live stream, he waffled on for, well, at least 6 hours about the possible causes of the car not running. And investigated all of these possible causes and mused on the possibilities of the fault. And then very much glossed over the fact that he put a can of diesel in, and guess what? It worked. Oh, I enjoyed that very much. And to the best of my knowledge, that's the second time that Mustard has run out of petrol. What was the other thing he ran out of petrol in? Was it Benny Jazz Mags? And I enjoyed that very much too. I enjoy it when somebody who lambasts me for my own lack of technical awareness and mechanical aptitude, which I freely admit, but I do know that cars need fuel in them in order to run. So, yeah, I enjoyed that very much indeed. Oh my fucking God, that face re-wedding photos. I am laughing so hard here. Lego key rings are excellent, especially if you have a Lego board to hang them on. Really? That's nice. I can't do that actually. I mean, my initial thought is how fucking sad is that? But thinking about it, it's not as sad as me and my lengthy explanations for my own keyring doings. So who am I to cast sadness upon anybody else when I'm the saddest of the sad? I retract that, really. I'm sorry everyone, this is my fault. Oh dear. Where did you get married, Boaty? Asks KKC. I got married at a place called Fishers of Baslow Hall, which is, unsurprisingly, in Baslow. And I got married there. I didn't sort the wedding out. I was terribly busy. And I just left it to the soon-to-be Mrs. Boaty to sort it out, and she went to all of the wedding fairs and chose her dress and all of the bridesmaid dresses and all of that sort of thing, and sorted out the wedding venue and the reception. I just paid for it, and I'd never been to Fishers, and she said that this place looked fabulous, and I googled it and it had a Michelin star. And it was the only place with a Michelin star in Derbyshire. So I said, yeah, absolutely, yes. The only two provisos I put in place was no wedding singer for the wedding reception. I would do it myself. I'm not paying somebody else to sing at my wedding when I had earned a lot of money and spent a lot of my time singing at people's weddings. I was determined I was going to do my own. And what we actually did for the reception, we got my old cabaret together. We'd obviously, by the time I got married, I'd sold the businesses off. We'd all split up, gone our separate ways. But we got back together for like a farewell gig for my reception. And I did indeed sing. And I did indeed, our first dance was us dancing together with me singing into a head mic. My other thing was there was to be no food at the reception. I was not willing. I'd been to 1 million wedding receptions, and I hated the fact that a load of people that you hardly knew and probably didn't like, you had to feed them. And it was all a waste because there was always a shed load left over because the reception buffet is always shit. So I said, I put my foot down with a firm hand, and I said, no food at the reception. They can eat before they come out, or they can get a kebab on the way home. That's what I'm going to do. And my wife-to-be said, yes, darling, of course, I completely understand. And booked a reception for about 300 or 400 people, most of whom I didn't know, and those I did know I didn't like. And she put a full buffet on. Not your normal buffet, your sausage rolls, your curled up sandwiches, a hot buffet. A full, professionally catered hot buffet. Now, I thought the wedding breakfast was expensive at a Michelin starred hotel and restaurant. And it was about 40 grand. But that was not, the reception was even worse. It was great. I mean, it was great. She made the right decision. She always did. That was one of the things about us, is that fundamentally, deep down, I knew that on most things, with a few exceptions, she would always make the right decisions. And she did with all of the wedding. It was a fabulous day. I think I only rocked up. I was staying down at the work flat, and I think I rocked up the night before. We got married on my 36th birthday, which would have been 14th of January 2007, I think. and I kind of rocked up pretty much the night before. At the last minute, my mother insisted that I stayed in a hotel with her because it was bad luck for me to spend the night at home. And then we ended up spending the first night of our honeymoon in the hotel where we'd had the reception. We hadn't planned to, but they thought that we shouldn't. We were going to go home and start the honeymoon the next day, but our friends booked the bridal suite for us at the hotel, and we stayed there and went on honeymoon from there. And we spent the second night of the honeymoon at our cottage in Wales, and then we went on to the fabulous Lake Vyrnwy Hotel. Spent can't remember how long. Spent a while there, which was amazing. It always is. It's one of my favourite hotels in the world. It's actually my top 3. And then we went on to Llandudno. Had a little road trip up to Llandudno and stayed in, I've told you before, the most amazing hotel that I've ever stayed in. And the most expensive. It was about 5 times the cost of the bloody Bellagio in Las Vegas, for Christ's sake. But my God, was it amazing. There you go, that's that question answered. Who else wants spanking, asked Mustard, and that was a hidden comment, and I chose to unhide it, in much the way that he unhid mine. Another one held for review. Tits. Okay. This is hilarious. Boaty reading the comments just makes me cry, and it's all your fault, chat. Cutting bollocks off. Boaty has a big old wooden spoon here. Stephen S. Paul is with us and probably wondering what the fucking hell is going on. A sentiment tricky. Oh. A sentiment echoed. That's the word I was looking for. Echoed. It's not a difficult word. Just spit it out. A sentiment echoed by Trace, who says, "You joined at the maddest moment. Steak mash and brown sauce in a sandwich. If I had the power for that comment alone, I would literally send you for a short jail term." Oh God, now it gets worse. With butter. What's the matter with you? I'm glad I didn't make you lunch now. How could you not have mashed with steak in the USA? You don't need gravy with an American steak. Good question. How did I not have mash with steak in America? Well, I managed. I did manage. I definitely managed. I ate many things in America. What I remember most about eating in America, I remember 2 things. I remember going to McDonald's in downtown Chicago in the Loop. And you had to order everything by numbers because all of the staff were Hispanic and didn't speak English. And I ordered a large meal, and it came with, I can't remember how big the food was, but I remember that the Coke was literally like that. 2 members of staff had to carry it to the table. Everything is big in America. We often used to eat at the sports bar at Wrigley Field, the, pitch, whatever you call it. Oh, I can't even remember if it was baseball or it was baseball, wasn't it? Wrigley Field. Because I think that wasn't a million miles from the apartment. I think it was kind of en route from her law offices back to the apartment or something. And we often used to eat there, and they had a snack menu, which were like just in-between meal snacks. And so we used to get one of these in-between meal American snacks, which we ate between us and never finished. There's a reason why a lot of American people are fat. Go to Vegas. Go to Vegas. Vegas caters wonderfully for fat people. You don't have to walk anywhere. They have escalators where you don't need escalators. Instead of a pavement or sidewalk, They have escalators running places. I got from the Bellagio Hotel almost to, I think it was Circus, without actually walking a bloody step, just trotting from one travelator to the next. I need to find somewhere to get a decent steak from. Well, your local butcher would be the best bet, I would have thought. Or a nice farm shop, really good organic farm shop. Rump steak is for stew. No, it's not. Yeah, you do need butter on mashed potatoes, but not on a sodding steak in a sandwich. He missed the joke. Thankfully, it was appreciated by Mustard on his stream, horseradish. Now, I didn't miss the joke. I watched it on Mustard's stream and I enjoyed it very much. But, you know, given that it was repeated, I chose not to fixate on it. Oh. Ladywood Road in Winson Green, 12% yield on that kit at the moment. No, Lady Pool Road, not Ladywood Road. Moment currency, what does that mean? I was distracted and didn't realise chat joined in the tomato song. This is what makes this community such a laugh. Okay. Oh. Oh, really? Oh, God. Oh, this is from Trace. Oh, Steve saw you, Boaty, hit 1,000 subs and was so totally determined to crack YouTube, but was too ill to get there. Oh, Jesus, that's bloody sad, isn't it? Oh, dear. Oh, bless him. Oh, I must feel a bit bad about that. I'm sure he would have got there. He was too humble. That was his problem. He was just too humble. If he'd have, even if in his blurb he'd played up to, you know, being a thing, a world recognisable thing, and he did take a few quid here and there. He did do some adverts. He did one memorable advert where he was with the world's fastest rapper on a roller coaster. Where was it? Korea? I want to say Korea. He loved to travel, did Steve. And he recorded this TV advert where they're on this horrendous roller coaster, him and the world's fastest rapper, and they're doing their thing. But it took a lot of takes and he ended up throwing up all over the shop. Yes, John Marutti. Mustard even got the garage next door to diagnose Eric's failure. Yeah. Can you help me, chaps? I've got a car here. Now, the fuel gauge is reading totally empty and it won't run. Any ideas? It'll be the McPherson strut. It'll be a McPherson strut failure. It always is. That's the first thing I'd try. Oh dear. Yeah, you've been chancing it much more than me with the fuel gauge mystery. Well, I haven't run out there, have I? I admit that until recently, because I got fed up with you ripping it out of me. Now I'm doing really well. I'm taking the cars to work in turn, and I'm putting, each time I take one of them to work, I put 20 quid in them. Unless I take them to your place, Mustard, in which case when I get to Tesco in Mottram, I put 30 quid in because that's super cheap there. So Wetleg had 30 quid on Monday. So I'm trying, all of the cars, with the exception of Sir Arnold, which hasn't moved for a while and I need to rectify that tomorrow, all of the cars have got over a quarter of a tank in them, and I'm building them up to all having a full tank. That's going to take a few months. Probably. That's going to take. Oh, let's have a proper go. Ooh, lovely. That's going to take until I have to stop spending mad amounts of money on gas to keep this place warm. But I've been really good. But yeah, prior to that, I did take my chances with the fuel gauge. But I didn't run out, did I? And you've run out twice. Hashtag just saying. Yes, no lost keys. Oh, Mustard's off. So he won't have seen that. That's a shame. I have a Lego Batman on my back door key, says Matt. I call it backdoor key. I have no shame, it appears tonight. Apparently not. Never leave a woman in sole charge of a wedding. It will cost you a fortune. Yeah, it did, but at least I didn't have to organise it. And those days, I would rather have spent 30 grand more than I would have spent otherwise than have to organise it myself. She did everything, bless her. She was a fine woman, my ex-wife, and no doubt still is a fine woman. Not without her faults, of course, but a splendid woman. Ah, there you are. I'll put that on record. All of my exes have been fine people. Then, you know, otherwise I wouldn't have chosen them in the first place, would I? I'm not an idiot. Farewell, man. My proviso at my wedding was no speeches and no Shania Twain. I'd have loved Shania Twain at my wedding. Or would I? Because I'd have wanted to do her. Could have ruined the wedding, that. When Eric Clapton got married in the 70s, the Beatles were the house band. Wow. Never married, says Stephen S. Paul. That's why I'm a wealthy miser. One or two of the usual chatters are missing, says Matt. Yeah, well, it's a PostMustard unannounced live thing. I'm amazed we've got anybody. Oh, Liz is here, fashionably late. At least I didn't eat it with ketchup, says Matt. Yeah, well, that's something. A Nuggets Happy Meal in America is 6 pieces, says KKC. The same as an adult meal in the UK. I'm hungry, says Matt. I think Beards and Bangers got another car. Yeah, he got a ZTT, but he had warned us that was about to happen, so it didn't come as a complete surprise. My bad, Ladypool Road in Spark Brook, Boaty Triangle. That's the one. That's the one. We used to own a couple of properties on the old Ladypool Road. Best curries in Birmingham. Proper old school curry houses. Plastic tablecloths. No cutlery. Use your bread. And served in the proper style. Basically, you sat on the curb outside and they threw the curry at you. Oh, happy days. I thought a McPherson struck was how Ellie walked down the street. Fair play. That's good. I'll give you that. That's a good one. Stop the nippling. It's making me cringe. Shania Twain with some French fancies on top. Yes, please. What? Right, that's it. I'm buggering off. I'm buggering off. I was only going to do half an hour. I'm buggering off. I'm buggering off. But thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, I really need to eat and sleep. Not necessarily in that order. Now then, can I find this? Yes, I can. Okay, my loves, that's it. I'm not going to hang around for protracted goodbyes. Say your goodbyes. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for supporting Mustard. All the usual stuff. Take care. I'm tired and I'm tired and hungry. I just want to get off and make my curry. Yeah, boom, bosh. Oh, what's the matter with you? Oh, for God's sake. Oh, here you go. You stay safe, stay warm, take care, and can't wait to see you tomorrow. Sleep tight, my lovelies.